You know that feeling when you start a new job? It's exciting, right? But deep down, maybe you've had that little thought, what happens if I get hurt here? Well, it's a question we've all probably had, and today we're going to find the answer. We're diving into a really powerful law that's built around one single crucial idea. Your job shouldn't hurt you. Period.
So, let's meet May. She's super excited to start her new gig, but like most of us, she probably has no idea she's walking in with this invisible built-in safety shield. And this isn't just a nice idea, it's a whole set of rights and protections guaranteed by Taiwan's Occupational Safety and Health Act. So, come on, we're going to follow May's journey and figure out exactly what this shield is all about, and more importantly, how it works for you.
Okay, so how are we going to build this safety shield? Here's the game plan. We'll look at who's involved, what the core protection is, how the workplace itself is made safe, some special protections for certain workers, what your rights are, and finally, how the whole thing is enforced. Let's do it.
All right, first things first. To really get a handle on this safety shield, we need to know who the key players are. I mean, who exactly are we talking about here? Who's protected, who's responsible, and what are we even being protected from?
So, who actually gets this shield? You might be thinking, oh, that's just for the full-time permanent employees, right? Well, think again. The law casts a way wider net. A worker is basically anyone doing a job under someone's direction. That means May is covered for sure, but so are the freelancers, the temps, the contractors working right next to her. The bottom line is if you're there and you're working, you're protected.
Okay, so if the workers get the shield, who has to provide it? Well, that's the employer. And the law is super clear on this. We're talking about the business owner or whoever's in charge of running the show. At the end of the day, the buck stops with them. It is their legal duty to make sure the workplace is safe.
So what exactly is this shield protecting us from? The law calls it an occupational hazard. And let me tell you, this definition is huge. It's not just about, a slippery floor or a faulty machine. It covers the whole shebang, the building itself, any equipment, chemicals, even the work you're actually doing. And this is so important, it even includes things like the stress you get from being overworked. That's a game changer. And it makes this law's protection really, really comprehensive. Okay, we know who's who. Now let's get to the absolute core of this thing. And if you only remember one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. This law completely flips the script on who is responsible for safety. It takes that burden off of your shoulders and puts it squarely on the employer. This is the foundation, the very bedrock of that safety shield. And here it is, right in Article 5. The key word here is shall. The employer shall take measures. That's not should, it's not could, it's not a suggestion, it's a command. This is a non-negotiable legal duty. Everything else we're going to talk about builds on this one single point. So what does that duty actually cover? Well, it's a lot. And this is where it gets really interesting. It's not just about the obvious stuff like machinery or flammable things. Look at this list. We're talking about preventing injuries from doing the same motion over and over, preventing illnesses from burnout and crazy long hours, and even, get this, preventing workplace violence or harassment. This law is looking out for your physical and your mental well-being. All right, but a safe workplace isn't just about rules on a piece of paper, right? It's about the actual stuff around you, the tools, the tech, even the chemicals. So how does the law make sure all that stuff is safe before you even clock in for the day? Well, for any kind of dangerous machinery, there's a really strict step-by-step process. Think of it like a safety checklist. Before a piece of heavy equipment can even be sold or used, it has to be tested by experts to make sure it meets the standards, and then it gets an official safety label. So the safety is baked right in from the very beginning. It's not an afterthought. And you know what? The same idea applies to chemicals. This is actually pretty smart. The law has different levels of rules depending on how dangerous a chemical is. At the baseline, everything hazardous needs a label and a safety sheet. But as the risk goes up, the rules get stricter. First, you have to assess the risk, then you might have to report its use, and for the really, really nasty stuff, you actually need a special permit from the government just to have it on site. It's a system that makes a ton of sense. Now, this safety shield isn't just a generic one-size-fits-all thing. It's smarter than that. It has extra reinforced layers specifically designed to protect workers who might be in a more vulnerable situation.
And here are a couple of perfect examples. The law is crystal clear. For younger workers or pregnant employees, some jobs are just off limits, period. It's not a suggestion. It's not a be careful warning.
It's a hard line in the sand, a flat-out prohibition, to protect people who need that extra layer of safety.
And this whole safety thing is about being proactive, not just reacting to accidents. That's where health checks come in. Your employer has to provide them, and this is key, they have to pay for them. You get one when you start, you get regular checkups, and if you're in a job with special risks, you get special checkups too. The whole point is to catch any problems early. Now, it's also your job to actually go to these appointments, so it's a two-way street. Okay, this next part is so important, because this safety shield, it's not just something that's handed to you that you just have. This law actually gives you the power to pick it up and use it. This is where you go from being protected to being an active participant in your own safety.
So let's imagine a really tough situation. What if May's boss tells her to do something that she knows is dangerous? Like right now, go use that machine that's making a weird noise, or get in there, we don't have time for the safety gear. There's an obvious immediate danger. What does she do? Does she have to follow that order?
The answer is no, and her power comes straight from Article 18. If there is an imminent danger, and that means a danger that's happening right here, right now, she has the legal right to stop what she's doing and retreat to a safe place. She doesn't have to ask, she doesn't have to wait for permission, she can just do it. That is a massive power to have.
And here's the best part. The law has her back. It explicitly says her employer cannot punish her for doing this. They can't fire her, they can't cut her pay, they can't give her a bad shift, nothing. Because without that protection, the right to stop work wouldn't really mean much, would it? This is what makes it real.
Okay, so we've got all these great rules and rights, but what happens if they're ignored? I mean, a rule is only as good as its enforcement, right? How does the law make sure that companies are actually held accountable?
Well, if a really serious accident happens, a clock starts ticking. The employer has to provide first aid immediately, of course. But for the worst kinds of accidents, we're talking a death or something that injures 3 or more people, they have just 8 hours to report it to the Labor Inspection Agency. 8 hours. That kicks off an official investigation to figure out exactly what happened and why.
And believe me, this law has teeth. To make sure companies take this seriously, there are real consequences. We're talking about everything from some pretty hefty fines for general slip-ups all the way to potential jail time if a violation leads to someone getting seriously hurt or worse. These penalties are what give the safety shield its strength.
So there it is, your safety shield. It's forged from your employer's responsibility, it's reinforced with safe equipment and health checks, and it's activated by your voice and your rights. But knowing all this is just the first step. The real power comes from using this knowledge. So I'll leave you with this. What's one question you're going to ask about safety when you go to work tomorrow? Thanks for tuning in.